Hello, my name is Father Jacob Rouse, and I am the pastor of Notre Dame Parish in Cresco, Iowa. And for today's video, I would like to introduce a old concept with a twist. I first heard this from a friend who heard it from a podcast, who I think got it from a workshop or a book, who probably stole it from some theological writer or saint somewhere along the line. That happens a lot with theological devices and lessons, and that's okay. Even though the origin is unknown, it still bears repeating. So let's get into it. We have spent, as teachers, priests, educators, parents, leaders of any kind, we've spent massive amounts of time and energy trying to convince people to behave. You need to behave, follow the rules. Okay? Then we'll teach you what we believe and what you should believe. And then, if you do those two things, probably perfectly, you belong. You belong to our community. You are one of us, and we accept you if you do these two things. But the revolutionary twist on this concept is, what if we spent just as much massive time and energy convincing people that they belong? Then we can take time to teach them what we believe. And then I think behavior will flow from that. Behaving can look like many different things. If you're in an educational or academic environment, behaving can look like not throwing spitballs, or not vandalizing the desk, or not talking back to the teacher, or doing your math homework. If every single student in that classroom knew that they belong just by very nature of being enrolled in that school, then they'll probably be more receptive to what we believe about the science or the social studies class, and they'll behave, making the day go much easier. Same thing if in a religious setting, if we make sure that everyone who walks through those doors of our church knows that they are unconditionally beloved child of God, they belong just by virtue of existing, we can teach them what we believe, they'll be receptive to it. And then behavior, good moral action, should flow from that. You can take this a step further and look at someone in your life. Think of someone in your life who is not behaving. Someone who's not behaving, either legally, academically, educationally, or religiously. Does that person know? They may or may not know what we believe, but do they know that they belong unconditionally? Does that person know that they belong to this community just by nature of existing and being an unconditionally loved child of God? Because if that is the starting point, belonging, learning what we believe, I think behavior will just naturally flow from it. Then you can take it one step further and look at yourself. Is there any sort of struggle or sin or temptation or addiction that you're struggling with to properly behave with? Maybe you might not know exactly what we believe about that thing, but if you know deep down inside that you belong to that community, more specifically belong to God the Father, I think everything can flow from that. So I think obviously misbehaving is, in this analogy, sin, and sin is missing the mark of God's plan of love for us. But I also think that whenever we sin, it's because we've forgotten that we are beloved. So if we know that we're beloved, embrace that and live out of it with every single breath, then the things we believe will come naturally, and then behavior, the correct behavior, will just be second nature. So I hope you find that fascinating, and I hope you try it out, and I will see you this weekend.